Alright, guys, welcome to Nerdy Geek Talk. I'm Luke, and with me today is surprisingly both people. Eric, I think his name's Artemis Prime. I forget how to say it every time. It's episode 11, by the way, before I forget.
Good
And
job.
then we have John, which is Darth Forge, I believe. I don't know, he tends to be dead for most of these. Yep, see?
You just killed him.
I reminded him.
Alrighty.
And beyond really negative shit, Star Wars isn't doing anything. What the hell?
Yeah, really. There's like nothing this week.
Beyond EA. We can talk to them.
Well, I already trashed the story on the last campaign or whatever. I mean, the last episode or whatever. The story of the new game. So remember?
Yeah. There's the one video that's always in my recommended. It said EA lost $3.1 billion in stock because of this.
Oh gosh. Yeah, but anyway, so there's no news other than Daisy Ridley saying that she's not going to be Rey anymore, but I'm just going to straight up say that's bull. She will be Rey if Lucasfilm wants her to be Rey. You don't just decide, nah, I don't want to be in a Star Wars movie anymore. They pay you so much money, you get so much of everything. Like, if they decide, because in an interview she said that, like, after 9 she's done. If they ask her to come back, she'll come back. Don't act like you won't. Harrison Ford came back, and he hated it. You like it. She said multiple times.
They're going to be metaphorically raping her career.
Okay, that's
Nope.
getting edited out. Definitely getting edited out.
They kickstarted her career. She's starting to appear in everything.
Is she?
Yes, she was just in Murder on the Orient Express. This is the career that has
She
gotten
was?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
she
just
was.
watched that last week. Who was she?
Like,
She was the one. How did you not know?
I don't know!
She literally looked the same.
There's like
Yeah.
3 women on the train that are like her age, and I can't. There's a Spanish lady who
She
is
was
like
the
kind
one
of
who
related-
was. She was with the
Is she the
doctor.
crazy one?
No, she was the ambassador. She wouldn't answer
okay.
questions.
Okay.
Yep.
Shit, dude.
Yep. But anyways, yeah,
Ah.
I'm just saying right now, that's not even news. She'll come back if she does. All this means is that right now Lucasfilm hasn't asked her to come back yet, or at least hasn't announced
No, I
it
didn't
after
know.
9. So, alrighty. So, what's our discussion?
Well, when I'm bored, I like to make up random shit to talk about. And something that I really appreciate in Star Wars but kind of pisses me off is the role of 2. So we're gonna rant about that real quick.
Okay, so we should just straight up say whether we would keep or get rid of the rule of 2. Just like yes or
Well-
no, right? Really quick, and then we can each do our own version of what we would do if we did replace it. Does that
Well,
sound
we
good to
got to be polite and explain it real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Which is John's job, so he has to talk.
Yeah,
Go,
John,
John.
what's the rule of 2?
So the rule of 2 is where there's one Sith Lord, and then there is the another one.
And when they love each other very much, they decide to. No, I'm kidding. Sorry.
The one has all the knowledge. He knows everything. Knowledge.
He or she. There
And
have been girl Sith lords.
He or she. This is true. This is true. But
Anyone can be a
Just-
Sith.
I'm generalizing here.
Even an Apache
Um,
attack helicopter. Anyways.
They train the apprentice. There's the master and the apprentice. There's one and the other. The master teaches the apprentice, but only enough that they can do what they want, but not enough to overthrow him. But eventually, the apprentice does overthrow the master, and then it's just a cycle that goes over and over again.
Pretty much. So they
That
keep getting
was
more
my-
powerful.
That's my elaborated, unnecessary explanation of everything.
Luke, is there anything that you think is missing from that description?
No,
I think
it was perfect.
I think it's important to emphasize that that there's never more than 2, specifically for the rule 2. Like I like that. Yeah, you made it clear there's a Sith Lord and a Sith apprentice. There's no apprentice to the apprentice in the real.
Unless they decide one.
In the real rule of two, that's in how it's supposed to work, not how it ends up working half the time.
Okay.
But okay,
Oh.
so now that we've explained what it is, do we keep or do we toss out the rule two? Good idea or bad idea?
I would get rid of it.
John?
Get rid of it.
I would keep it until you win, then get rid of it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, like, if it depends on what's going on in the galaxy. If the Sith are in control right now, then I would say yes, ditch it, get rid of it. But if the Sith are like thought to be dead or they're clearly not in control, then I would say keep it, definitely keep it. The rule of two is effective, I think, until you win, then throw it out, because you can't police the galaxy with the rule of two. I don't think that works.
In what way would you throw it out? Would you just allow as many Sith as possible, or just you?
So once
we are number one.
I think I would make it so that I'm, like, if I'm assuming I'm Sith Lord, not apprentice, I'm the Lord. I have everyone, the galaxy is under my control. I would start training several apprentices. I would definitely have an inquisitorium, just to be clear. Many inquisitors, but the inquisitors are not apprentices. They are people that are weaker, but they're still force sensitive and trained in the dark side, but they are not powerful enough to overtake an apprentice, let alone a master. But my apprentices, I would train multiple, and I'd give them all, like, higher ranking roles. I would hope that at some point one of them becomes a clear second in command, and they take over my position once I die, because I'm not obsessed with living forever. So I would hope they wouldn't kill me, but that's a good chance. But basically, I would have like a group, almost like the Knights of Ren. Even it's tough for me to say that since we don't really know what the Knights of Ren are, but like several people.
They're knights.
Well, although we don't, I'm assuming they probably aren't on the same level as Kylo. I have people that would be apprentice level, so like I'd have a bunch of Darth Vaders, almost essentially. And then several Inquisitors. I'd have like 1 billion Inquisitors, though, way more than the Empire did. I would use the Inquisitors almost as like regular troops, as much as I could, because obviously there aren't that many Force sensitives. But I would want a ton, because if I have several apprentices in me, there's no way they're going to win. And it's not like an Inquisitor army would just rise up because they know they're not that powerful. But I'd still have plenty of other soldiers, too, like Stormtroopers, stuff like that, although I would go the clone route. Would I try to clone Sith? I don't think so. But yeah, basically, my method is I'm master. I have several apprentices that I train.
You just had your own little internal monologue.
Yeah.
Wait, so you're like Crate then, pretty much?
Yeah, basically the rule of one, where there's several. But I would also have Inquisitors. Like, I'd make it clearly defined whether you're an apprentice and you're meant to be something more, or if you're an Inquisitor and you're Force sensitive, but you don't get to be as special as the apprentices or anything. You're not that important. Which is the difference between Crate, really. Crate just had a bunch of Sith, and it wasn't, like, exactly clear which ones are the next in... I mean, there was, like, an order, but he was meant to rule them all, and they were all his servants, basically. I would have apprentices, and some of them that, like, you are the ones who could possibly be in line, whereas I would also have a clearly defined line where you're either an apprentice or an Inquisitor. So that would be my modified rule of one, which I would use after the rule of two overtook the galaxy. I think the rule of two,
minusing.
I think rule of two is the best way to overtake the galaxy, but once you're in control, I don't think it's the best way to maintain. So that's what my rule would be. That'd be the rule of Eric.
Love Eric.
Luke or John, which one of you wants to give your rule?
Well, wait. John's pulling out a slideshow.
I would say that the whole keep it until you're in power thing is good. But I wouldn't have any Inquisitors. I wouldn't have anything else. It would just be me.
Like, you wouldn't even have an apprentice.
No, maybe whenever like I was reaching the time in my life when I was like going to die.
So you would attempt to try to live forever like the Emperor or several other Sith. You would want to die at some point, right?
I mean, yeah, but I would prolong it as long as I possibly could,
Right?
and then whenever I was reaching the end of that extended period, then I would start training everything that I knew into somebody.
But
Wait.
what about if you die unexpectedly? Like, do you have a backup plan, like a holocron or something somewhere? Like, what if you die, then the Sith Order's over because of you?
I won't die.
Okay.
Okay, I have an interjection real quick.
I will
here,
make sure that I won't die.
John.
What?
If it's just you, who taught you?
No.
He's saying once he's a
no.
No.
Once I'm a master and I'm in control of everything, then it's only just going to be me.
Yeah, he's saying he doesn't take an apprentice until like pretty much end of his
Until
life.
I'm
Freaking
yeah.
decrepit, can't do shit.
Yeah.
He's gonna be jumping around like Yoda.
I think that's too
Kill him.
risky because like if you're a Sith Lord, if you're a Sith, you want the Sith Order to survive, and like I just see that it's too risky. I mean, maybe if you have a holocron or something, it eventually gets discovered, but I think that's too risky. I'm not saying you should have a billion
I could also do if I know I'm about to die soon and I don't have enough time, I could also have planned out. I have secret stashes of holocrons places and all that, and whenever I start the training of somebody, I don't have enough time to finish their training per se, but I can start them on the right path to go find the hidden stuff that I put everywhere, and that will be enough to finish his
So I
training.
think that's fair. I think a good thing in your scenario would be to have people like who would be potential apprentices like picked out, not necessarily make them aware of it, but like have orders so that if you died unexpectedly, take those people to this location where there's billion holocrons and they train or something. So like not actually training them yourselves, but if you did die, it'd be important to have a backup plan.
Here's an important thing to note here. I wouldn't just have all the holocrons needed for them to be trained in one spot.
Yeah. But I'm saying initiate
I would
the journey.
make them work for it.
Yeah, I'm saying that you would need a backup plan to make sure they
work.
initiated the journey, though. Like, you'd have to have one of your soldiers or something like, hey, go get this person, start them on their path so they can become what I once was or something.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's not too terrible of a plan once you have that backup in place in case you die. Like, because if I die, I have a bunch of apprentices. I would probably make it clearly defined who's the second in command. Like, each of them have their own positions of power. Like, you're in charge of this, area or whatever of my empire. You're in charge of this area of my empire, whatever. Things like that. So, Luke, what would your role be?
All right, let me kick everyone's ideas ass real quick. So, I was thinking about it while you guys talk because I didn't pay attention. And I think what I would do is have like 5 or 6 masters. And I want to say you'd at least have like 1 apprentice to you. You could have more, I would think, if you can be organized. And because like when it comes down to it, like the Sith, it's a religion. So as soon as you're doing the thing like trying to keep yourself immortal, that's your own choice. You're technically going against your beliefs. Because the whole point is like to gain power for the Sith, keep going. So I'd have like the 5 or 6 masters with their apprentices, and just every once in a while have them fight it out for power if you want.
So would you be like a master above the masters, or are you saying there's like 5 or 6 people on your level too?
No, there's like there's that group from the old Republic games,
Like
where
the council.
Yeah, like there's like the Dark Council. I forget. They're the Dreadlords, I think, is what they were called. Like those dudes.
But then you'd end up being like the Jedi Council and it would be stupid. I think once you have a council, it sucks.
No, Eric, you're just stupid.
No,
I'm sorry.
How does the council ever work out for the Jedi?
Efficient getting power, not just being like, oh, I can't wait to die.
But
Wait,
you're
what?
When you have the Master Apprentice, you're just like, I'm going to train you, then you kill me, then we keep going.
If I have a bunch of apprentices, that's not a problem. I mean,
Actually, it is a problem.
No, because hear me out. If one apprentice tries to kill me, I have a bunch to defend me. They aren't all going to try to kill me because who would be in charge? They're not going to share power.
Okay.
They would. They would.
I'm sticking with this, but I'm going to have it like, you can fight a master to take his position, and if you beat him, don't kill them, and their purpose is to pretty much like they just go be a teacher to like the underlings.
So basically, you're starting a
So
Jedi
teachers
Order.
disgraced.
You're starting a dark Jedi Order.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, I hate the Jedi system. It's awful.
No, I wouldn't say awful.
They don't ever get anything done, and they always get babies murdered. Come on.
Hey, I might have that as a test. You don't know.
No. Okay, the Jedi system itself, as a concept, isn't awful. It's the way how they became weak and subsided, and they didn't have the confidence to do anything about anything.
Yeah.
They let the Senate take control of them.
No, you're right. I'm
the
saying
system
that
itself isn't awful. It's how the system became.
I think setting up a council is the first step in that process, though. Like, I think if you set up a council, you will head in that direction at some point, whether it's after you die or before. I think at some point your council will get to that point. I think that's
why I'm having the council, but you always have that like freaking outlying threat of like, okay, there could be a new apprentice that pops up, takes over. Okay, we're gonna do things their way now. It's just a constantly evolving system then.
So it's like the rule of 2 just with 5 or so. Like with 10.
Yeah, just
like,
expand.
Well, the whole problem with a whole bunch of Sith is the reason why the rule of 2 was initiated in the first place was there was way too much infighting between everybody.
Yeah.
So there can't be like an enormous amount of Sith.
Yeah.
There has to be a limited number.
I feel like when you have more than 2, you get that problem though, where eventually it becomes a clearly defined issue. Unless
which is why my option is the best.
I'm not gonna lie, your option does have a significant amount of appeal. It's really risky though in terms
I'm
of
just
the
gonna be
Sith
that
Order.
one guy killing people.
The Sith Order ending though, that's the thing, and it's like you don't have any Sith. Not allies, because I mean, obviously your apprentices aren't allies, but you know what I mean? You don't have any warriors to battle with you. You could train guards, all that, but if you don't have an apprentice, you don't have someone that can take on the same foes that you can. So I suppose it depends on how many enemies you have left in the galaxy alive, whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
But like what I'm saying is with my apprentices, I don't know how many I would have, but if I have a set number, it's not likely that they would work as a group to overtake me and then share power, because Sith like to be the one in power. You like to be the master, the lord. Now, if you train a whole ton of Sith to, sharing is caring, all that, then yeah, they're going to turn into Jedi and all that. But if you have
no, because I'm trying to follow like the philosophy of it.
No, the philosophy is that there's one who's always in charge.
No.
That's the way of the Sith.
The philosophy is like get power for yourself. It's not I'm gonna roll over everyone. It's just how much power you yourself have.
It's always getting more power, and you can never keep getting more power if you have a partner.
Then the rule of 2 wouldn't have worked in the first place.
It does work because you eventually kill the master and you take all the power. And then
Yeah,
takes
and
all
you kill your
power.
master and you just join my freaking group. Like, okay, let's keep on expanding the galaxy.
Yeah, but you only get a vote in a group of 5 or 6. Whereas if you're the master, your decision's the decision. You don't have anyone to consult with. You don't have to ask anyone. But I'm saying that my apprentices, I doubt, would all overthrow me because they don't want to form a group. They want the power all for themselves. And then there's other people who would say, well, what if one rises up and gets the others to like say, yeah, you're the new lord and we'll be your apprentices? Then what difference would it make if you're not the one in charge? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, why would they want to support him overthrowing me if they're not going to be in charge and he's going to be in charge? Like, so that's why I'm saying I think I'd be pretty safe. Also, I wouldn't make my apprentices super powerful. I'd have their skills spread out. Like, I'd have some become experts in certain areas, others become experts in other areas, whereas I would have all the knowledge, all that. So that's why I think mine's safe. I think that I would have a stronger empire than John, is what I'm saying, because I'd have more force wielders. I think John would have a more secure spot within his own empire, though, undoubtedly, compared to all of us. Especially you.
I'd like to add something onto my empire.
Mm-hmm.
A
wall.
I've been thinking about this.
the
Aside
Jedi
from a
out.
wall, because I'm definitely doing a wall.
Keep the
Gonna
Jedi
build
out.
a wall.
Uh,
Just
I was thinking about this, and you're right. Holocrons alone aren't enough to sustain the Sith Order if I were to suddenly die. What if I were to take non-force sensitive people, keep them isolated, but teach them the necessary knowledge that they can't do anything with, but if they were given a force wielder, they could teach them the knowledge that I give them.
I,
I don't think they
I,
could teach.
And
I'm
it's
not saying it's
they
impossible.
don't have all the knowledge. It's just that it's spread out over a bunch of people that's isolated, and they're on their. Nobody can get to them except for a force wielder that goes on that path that I send them on.
I don't think you can teach non-force wielders everything that you need to know about being a force wielder. And I'm not saying that you teach one person everything. I'm saying that there's certain concepts and lessons and stuff that you can describe to a non-force wielder that I don't think that they could, even no matter how long you talk about it, they could teach someone else. I could be wrong.
Which is where the holocrons would come in.
Okay. That's kind of fair. That's not
So it's like a combination of holocrons
John, at
and.
that point, why don't you just like Horcrux yourself?
but what I'm saying
I
is
don't
that
think that exists in Star
you
Wars.
don't have any force users to back you up either.
Yeah,
Because what if an
but
army of
the
Jedi
thing
comes
is-
out of the unknown regions? Like you're the lone Sith.
The thing is, even though the force wielders have all this powers, there's still out there. If you take a certain number of just regular people, at a certain point, whenever there's enough of those people, they can overtake the power that a force wielder has.
But an army of Jedi could start a revolution and get ordinary people to join them, is what I'm saying.
That's
if
why my
one-
hold on the general populace would be too strong for that to happen.
I feel like Star Wars should have taught you at this point that if one Jedi can overthrow an empire, an army could certainly do the same in terms of motivating a
That's why
rebellion
I'm
and
not
stuff.
going to let an army, let alone one Jedi, even exist.
Unknown regions, man.
I'm gonna keep my
Which is why
platoon.
I'm going to explore the unknown regions.
You know what? My new Sith Order is just listen to Thrawn all the time. What would Thrawn do? That's a question
Look
we
at
ask
this
ourselves every
artwork
day.
and understand.
Let's form a religion around Thrawn. What would
I would back that.
bracelets,
I'm down. I'm
little
down
bracelets? What would Thrawn do?
for it. I really, I hate you. Now I really want to make that.
You just wear blue masks all the time.
What would Thrawn do? Just any decision, but before you make any decision, just ask yourself, what would Thrawn do?
Oh, you're doing this? What would Thrawn think of that?
Yeah, I feel like the real problem here, because I think the only reason that freaking Palpatine's plan worked is because he never directly fought anyone.
That's not.
What's his? I'm confused. What you mean?
Because
His plan
like-
to overthrow the galaxy, or his
'Cause,
plan
like,
to rule the
the-
galaxy?
the rule of two is based on the idea of like, okay, they think we're all dead, so two of us are gonna work behind the scenes for however long we need to. Because if they knew we were alive, they could send like 50 freaking Jedi, and it doesn't matter how strong we
Or
are.
like
we're probably
4.
gonna lose.
Or like what?
Or like 4.
No, they get killed easily if you just spin in the air and stab them with a weird screen.
Yeah, that's why you send 4.
Insta kill.
Yeah, Mace Windu would have killed him.
Yeah. Send like 8 Jedi to kill the role of
But
two.
yeah, still, we get the point. You know, that the Sith would die out if they tried to start a new order because there's more Jedi and stuff like that. So once you overtake the galaxy, that's when I think it makes sense to create an entire order.
Yeah, I'm sticking with my dozen. So if like a bunch of people die, boom, go do the roll of 2.
I still think that there should be one master. I think that's the difference. To me, that's the difference between the Sith and the Jedi, is that the Sith don't share power.
They kind of do. But
Not
there's
okay.
one guy that
there
owns
are no
most of the
equals. There's no
power.
equals in the Sith. I'm not gonna say that they.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah, you know what I mean. I don't mean literally don't share any power. Although that's what you would be doing. But, literally what you would be doing. But yeah, they one has more power than. There's no equals in the Sith. It's a clearly defined hierarchy where there's one, and then there's another, or several, whatever. So that's what I would. That's the approach I would take versus having equals. I don't want any equals if I'm Sith Lord. I want to learn. I want to rule.
Equals.
Yeah? Well, why do you want everyone to be equal, you communist Sith?
Because I think freaking
Ooh.
because I think animals got it right. Like, okay, we're gonna fight it out, and then that's how we'll decide what we do. You win, we do this. I win, we do what I want.
But, like, there's one alpha, usually.
Mine will
Yeah.
have more alphas.
But the whole point of the alpha is that there's the one that makes the decisions.
We will be the Omegas.
If you took
We are the primes.
all of the
Sith.
alphas in the world and put them in a room with each other, they would all kill each other.
Yeah, until there was one alpha. Like,
Yeah.
Where
But
other
then who are they
alphas-
gonna roll? Who? Like if
Well,
they're all
or
dead.
some alphas would submit at some point. Like some alphas would be like, "Oh gosh, I'm not, I'm not geared up for all this crap," and
I'm
others
not
would
a
die.
fucking elephant.
Others would die trying. But yeah, at some point there would be an alpha. Whether or not he had a crowd, he would definitely have some people left because there's some alphas out there that they only challenge the weak. So they're a weak alpha, but still.
Damn it.
But yeah, so I think it's interesting how varied our perspective of the Sith is in terms of how we'd want it. John wants literally only him. You want
Because it's
completely
the
shared
safest
power.
for me.
You want complete. I don't think it's the safest. That's what I'm saying. I see what you mean. I disagree on.
I'm not
going
going to be overthrown by any apprentices.
You're
What
correct.
makes you so
I don't
strong?
think apprentices are always the biggest threat, though. I think there's a balance. That's why mine's kind of a balance between yours and Luke's. Whereas Luke's is like completely sharing power, yours is total power only in you. Mine's like I retain most power, but I still have some apprentices, which yes could be a threat. I still think that the threat of a revolution at some point would outweigh it, where you want to have some apprentices, some inquisitors, stuff like that. Which inquisitors I don't see as a threat. Just want to put that out there. I don't think they would ever be a threat. It's the apprentices.
They could be a threat. They could be a threat. If
Not
they
if you
all work together, they could be a threat. Yeah. Yep.
Definitely not if you have apprentices.
Also, I think it's an important thing to note that the Emperor would have won, and he would have not died if it wasn't for the fact that he had an apprentice.
Oh shit.
But he
Oh
wouldn't.
shit.
He wouldn't have had to
So,
fight that
In your
war.
face.
He wouldn't have had to fight that war. Nobody knows how the war would have went without Vader turning. Like the war did start to turn towards the rebellion at the end. If Palpatine had survived, yeah, it's
But
possible
if
the Empire
Palpatine
wins.
would have survived, then the Empire would have survived.
I mean, the Empire kind of did survive. It turned into the First Order. I'm saying that we don't know if the Empire would have won
But
that
in the
war.
way that it was, I'm saying, never mind.
I'm saying that I don't know if the Empire could have won that war, even without Vader turning at the end. Like
No.
have everything
Is
still
it
go
sure?
down the same way. Because without you know what, that wouldn't work because
That would work.
no,
Death Star would still blow up?
without yeah, the Death Star would still blow up. Luke would be dead. That's the only difference.
Mm,
And guess
No,
what? Then you wouldn't have
Emperor would
Kylo
still be
Ren,
alive.
and Kylo Ren wouldn't turn the First Order and all that. They totally would have still blown up the Death Star if Vader had not turned. They weren't waiting for Luke to get off the Death Star.
Okay. Eric, what would you focus on teaching them?
Like I said, I would have them each become like experts in their own areas. Like I'd have some focused on like the history of the Sith, like knowing all about the history of the Sith. I'd have some that were straight up like, you're a warrior. Like that's your point. You're supposed to be as strong
But
as
that-
I am.
That's what they did before the roll of two, and look where that got them.
I would argue that Malgus was right, and Malgus did pretty good. He never ended up. He
He
won.
killed one.
Yes, that's pretty. I'm not gonna lie, that is pretty dark. I don't know how far I'd go in terms of that, but like, I'm not saying I don't know how far. I wouldn't kill my wife. Let's just put that out there.
Should probably call someone.
No, but I'm saying like, I'd teach some to be warriors, teach some to be experts in science, like stuff like that, sort of like
Sit out.
But I'm saying I wouldn't teach any one of them everything. I would teach one to be my second in command, and so maybe I'd like teach him somewhat in all areas, but not nearly to the level that I know. Because again, he's the second in command. He's meant to run what I can't because I'm human, not you're supposed to replace me right now. Like, I'm not telling you everything I know. So there is a difference.
I ain't trusting that.
I think it would work, and I'm saying that Malgus, I think, is like the ideal Sith Lord. He totally had it figured out.
Didn't him and Nihilus work together though?
No, that's
I
Nihilus
thought that-
and the guy who can't fall apart.
Oh.
Scion, I think. Or
Shout out to that guy, quick. That's what happens when you kill your wife. That's what happened to you, Eric.
No, that's not Malgus.
I know.
Malgus overthrew the Jedi Temple and the Sith Council, which is why I'm saying a Sith Council is a bad idea. It was like, no, don't do that. We made a peace treaty with them. And he's like, "What are you talking about? I'm overtaking Coruscant right now. I'm destroying the temple. Screw you. That's what I'm doing." So he goes in, destroys the Jedi Temple, kills everyone, causes great Jedi purge. And then the Sith Council's like, "Nope, we gotta turn you in because like we said don't do that. You know, we had this whole peace treaty with the Republic
Mine
and
aren't going to
everything."
be pussies, though.
What?
Mine aren't going to be pussies, though.
They
Like,
will
"That's a
become
peace treaty."
eventually.
No, the whole point is just keep growing your empire.
That's what the point was then. And look who got it right. Malgus, who went on to try to start his own thing, which he was succeeding. He got frozen by Vitiate. Vitiate
he
has
did.
him frozen. No, he's not dead. That's
Yeah,
the
so
thing.
Eric, so
In Star
freaking,
Wars, he's not dead. He is
so
specifically kept in carbonite by Vitiate.
so freaking John would come out of nowhere and freeze you.
100%.
Which, in all fairness, you know what? Maybe I'll be a weapon for him to use someday. No, but I'm saying, like, I think it's important to have some Sith on your side because it's not a Sith order if you don't have anyone else. But I'm not all about that equality. Not when we're talking Sith. If I'm running a Sith order, I'm full of the dark side. I want that power for myself.
No, I feel like you're fine. Like, I don't know if I'd focus on, like, the dark side or the Sith specifically at a certain point.
I'm okay. So just to put this out there, I am more of a fan of the Sith versus the dark side. I'm not saying don't use the dark side. I'm very much an advocate for like you can use both, but I'm more of a fan of like I'm more obsessed with the Sith as an order than I am with the dark side itself. Like I don't want to be just a dark sider. I like the Sith order, and so I would want to still rule the system, but at the same time, if you are using the dark side, it does slowly corrupt you. So at a certain point, you would want to overthrow everyone.
No, I'm not gonna let that happen. I ain't letting everyone get corrupted.
Then you should start because we're talking about a Sith order, not necessarily what our dream order or like faction is. We're talking about our idea of Sith order.
I know.
So that's why I'd go that way. I'm not saying that's the route I would go if I was forming my own dream faction. But if I'm doing Sith, that's certainly my goal.
Well, I feel like at a certain point you gotta like blur the line with the dark side and the Sith.
Like that say are they different or I'm confused what
like
you mean.
If you're a Sith, do you have to be corrupted?
I think if you're a Sith that at a certain point you will be corrupted or you're killed beforehand. But if you live to a certain point, yeah, you get corrupted. I think it's unavoidable if you're a Sith. Specifically.
Well, that's for another video.
Yeah, that should be interesting. But
it's
yeah,
almost like I had that planned.
That went on pretty long, so I think that's that could be about it for this episode. We can train porgs. Ideal Sith order achieved. Train the porgs.
I know how to make my empire completely. My empire completely impenetrable by any outside force.
Odd choice of words, but continue.
So hear me out. Instead of a wall, just put layers of sand all around my empire.
Always
and nobody will want to come in.
So if you listen to this episode, you should tweet at Darth Forge, which there will be a link in the description below, and tell you how much you hate him or love him if you're demented. You can tweet at me at Eric Crowbar, or
All my demented buddies come hang out with me on Twitter.
And if you're slightly sane and just weird, definitely hang out with me and tell him how stupid he is. But yeah, that's about it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I think that's about it. Yeah. So. Oh, this is the final day of National Podcast Month too. So thank God.
I didn't know that's a thing.
Thank God. Go ahead and go back and listen to all the stuff if you want, but you are not getting a podcast every day for a month ever again. Ever again.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yes, that's what I've been having, one a day, every single day of November.
More so we can gain power.
All right. Well, that's it for this episode. So thanks for listening, guys. Bye.